day 2 here at Paul Ricard on the first ever time that the NASCAR Euro Series has visited this circuit in the south of France. We saw some brilliant racing yesterday from both the Open Division and from the V8 GP Division, and they'll do it all again today around this wonderful circuit. The pro drivers will race in V8 GP, 13 laps. The young and the amateur drivers in the open category, slightly shorter race, 10 laps. Around this circuit, which is the longest one we visit, turn 10 is the daunting 180-kilometre right-hander. That's the corner. You've got to be brave.
The rise of the Phoenix in the NASCAR Euro Series Open Division. I am here with Vladimir Ostsortzis, who's back to old strength. Yesterday, here in France, it was a really good race for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, both in V8 GP, it was a good race. Unfortunately, the start was a little bit strange, but we managed a P5 at the end. Good points. Then in Open, we were on pole. Unfortunately, we lost the pole on the start, but I am really grateful because after 3 laps, the front right tire, the rim got damaged. So I lost a lot of tire pressure until the end, and that's why I wasn't able to keep the pace until the end, and I lost like more 2 places with a P3 at the end. The car was not turning on the right corners because it was like a puncher, but I am grateful that it didn't broke completely.
Yeah.
So I managed to finish at least in P3.
All right, then good luck for today. Thank you.
Well, as a result of the fastest lap yesterday, it's Raphael Lessard, the Canadian driver, that will line up on pole position, but he had to charge from 10th on the grid. That would have taken life out of his tyres. The win went the way of Thomas Toffel. He was able to control the pace. All going to come down to who has looked after their tyres best in these warm conditions here, just north of the Mediterranean. It is Raphael Lessard that sits on pole position with Thomas Toffel alongside. Thomas Dombrovskis and Vladimir Ostsortzis line up on row number 2. Buckle up, we're about to go green for the final time this weekend in the Open Division. So over the start-finish line, Thomas Dombrovskis almost bump drafting Raphael Lessard up towards the first corner, which is Ferrari. And as they turn in towards the corner, Raphael Lessard is going to lead. Thomas Dombrovskis looking for second place, and he's made it through. Thomas Toffel down into third, and he might drop to fourth as well, because Gilles Linster is not that far away. Somebody running a little bit wide in the background, but it is going to be Raphael Lessard that straight away has pounced and has picked up the lead of the race. Everybody, though, safely through the first corner. 2 and 3 wide further down through the pack. Round through Virage de l'Hôtel and up towards Virage de Camp, which is a slightly tighter right-hander. All of the time, Raphael Lessard just looking to see whether he can build a margin over those behind. Giovanni Farinonio having a good fight with Dominic Shark, and also in the mix was Claudio Capelli, but the leaders are slipstreaming each other as they head along the Mistral Straight this time through. Raphael Lessard still leading the way from Thomas Dombrovskis, and then just that little bit further back is Gilles Linster, who also finds himself under pressure. That's Fabrizio Amata, who's having a brilliant drive. He had no luck at all and was out very early on in the weekend at Ricardo Tormo, but Fabrizio is now looking to try and get himself into the podium spots at this stage. It's the Canadian that leads the way at this stage. The Frenchman there in second position. The man from Luxembourg sits there in third. The Italian is there in fourth place. Starting to build the speeds again as they head round through Galabon and up towards what will be Lac. And then from there, you're onto the final corner, which is Virage de Pont. Brake, make sure you hit your marks, get cleanly off the corner. Thomas Toffel further down through the order now. He's behind Fabrizio Amata and has got Martin Dubec breathing down his neck, but look at the lead advantage. Raphael Lessard out of the box quickly, pulling away, but how much life did he take out of those tyres yesterday? He's quick at the start of the race. Is he going to remain quick towards the end of it? But everybody is queuing up from sort of third backwards at this stage. Heading round through Ferrari again, and then the circuit starts to descend down towards Virage de Camp, which is pretty much the lowest part of the circuit. Gilles Linster feeling the pinch from Fabrizio Amata, but at the moment it's still the man from Luxembourg that lies there in third place at this stage. Now that is Ossi Pollinario, and he's stopped on the start-finish line, so that car is not in a safe place. That means we're going to go full course yellow, so everybody travelling at the same speed until the car is moved out of the way by our fantastic marshals here at Paul Ricard. And for the restart, we're going to ride on board with Raphael Lessard. We go green again, and he's slow away. He drops from first to second, down to third, and now by the look of things down into fourth place as well. So now this particular car, the number 11 car, had an issue with its spotter communication system to the driver when we were at Riccardo Tormo, and exactly the same thing happened on restarts there, both for Lassar and for Gianmarco Ercoli. So Lassar back down into fourth place, slow to react at this stage, and now he's got more and more cars that he's going to have to try and carve his way back past to try and pick up the lead of the race. We ride on board with the number 11 car of Rafael Lassar. So you can see he's pushing hard to see whether he can get past Fabrizio Amata as they head over the start-finish line and in towards the very fast Ferrari, which is the first corner here at Paul Ricard. And he's through, he's made it through. So Rafael Lassar now from fourth back to third again all of a sudden. He's now got to set his sights on the yellow car that lies ahead, which is going to be Gilles Linster. And all of this is also just allowing Thomas Dąbrowski to pull away a little bit. Thomas Toffel tries a move on Fabrizio Amata. He's made it through, so Amata's lost 2 places there. He's now got, by the look of things, the black and the yellow and the blue machine of the Czech driver, Marty Dubek, sitting right behind him. You can see still just how close it is at the front of this field at this stage. There's not a great deal of daylight between anybody. The largest bit of daylight is between first and second, but Gilles Linster is getting the toe off the front runner and is trying to close in, whilst also trying to keep Rafael Lassar behind. So the leading train of cars through the chicane on the Mistral straight and starting to build the speed again. You've got to get off this corner so well because you carry all of that momentum up towards the very daunting corner, which is Coba de Signet, heading through now, and he's going to make it through Rafael Lassar through the quickest corner, 180 kilometres per hour up the inside of Gilles Linster, and takes the place away. Brilliant stuff from him, but by the look of things, hard on the brakes for the double right. He just snatches the brake a little bit there, so he needs to be careful because we know he worked his tyres hard yesterday to clamber from 10th to second, and of course set the fastest lap of the race as well, which is why he started from pole. So up towards the end of this next lap. Now what can Rafael Lassar do about our race leader at this stage, Thomas Dąbrowski? Well, he's pulled away from Gilles Linster, and is he going to mount a challenge for the lead of the race? It's still the PK Car Sport Chevy that leads the way from the Illuminatech Ford in second place. There's a Hendricks Ford that sits there in third place. It's another Chevy, which is going to be Fabrizio Amata for Club Motorsport, that sits there in fourth. For the lead of the race, over the start-finish line they will come. What has Rafael Lassar got in his pocket that he can throw at Thomas Dąbrowski, who's defensive on the run in towards the first corner? So Lassar tries the outside line at turn number 1. That's not going to work. That's allowed Gilles Linster to begin to close up again. So the top 3 now all busy squabbling away, with Fabrizio Amata, I think, still there in fourth place at this stage. In towards the braking area for Virage de l'Hôtel. And then from there, once you flick through the left section of that, you're down towards Virage de Camp once more. And Thomas Dąbrowski is having to work overtime. 5-6 cars for the lead, really, before you see any daylight whatsoever. Dąbrowski trying to feed the throttle in through the right-hander so he can carry as much momentum through the left-hander as they head now onto the Mistral straight. And what can Thomas Dąbrowski do to defend from Rafael Lassar, who's got a really good run and has got his nose ahead as they come up towards the chicane? The Canadian goes through and picks up the lead of the race, and Thomas Dąbrowski, the 24-year-old Frenchman, is down into second place at this stage. Now Lassar from first down to fourth, back to first again, and is trying to break the slipstream and the toe on those behind to see whether he can still pull away as we continue under these enormously warm conditions that we've got here in the south of France this weekend. Lassar leads Thomas Dąbrowski in second position, and then it is going to be Gilles Linster who's there in third. Again, that snatch brake from Rafael Lassar, so there must be a very small flat spot on that car, because every time he brakes for that corner, the unloaded wheel just locks up and it keeps going back, I would imagine, to the same point and just locking up on that flat spot, so he's got to be careful. Brilliant fight going on. Claudio Capelli had to stick his elbows out. He's got Maxime Van Lara right behind him. Then it's Florian Ricard, who had good performance yesterday. Capelli, I think, just having to shortcut the chicane at the first corner. He can't gain an advantage, though, so he's going to have to back off the throttle here a little bit, because if he gains an advantage from going off track, he will pick up a penalty. It's another good fight that's going on. And almost trying to join them as well is the number 99 white and red car from BS and Promotion, which is Dominic Shark, the 35-year-old German, at the wheel of his Chevrolet. So 10th, 11th, 12th, and pretty much now 13th have got themselves together as they feed their way out of Saint-Bum and then start to bring their way down the Mistral straight. which is broken up by that chicane for the NASCAR Euro Series this weekend. So we don't run the full 1 mile Mistral Straight. It's the chicane part the way through, and that just allows the cars to get a little bit of respite on what is a warm, warm day. So Maxime Van Lara under pressure from Florian Ricard, then the car of Dominic Shark behind. In the battle for second place, Thomas Dombrowski has got his hands rather full. Gilles Linster in the yellow car, weaving around one way, weaving around the other. Those two slowing each other up is allowing Thomas Toffel to begin to close in once more. And remember, the number 34 car is unbeaten as yet so far this year. Gilles Linster trying the wide line through that corner, but he needs to cover off the move from Thomas Toffel, which might be coming. He gets himself back towards the correct racing line again, and the three of them are still trying to duke it out as to who's going to claim the win. But up towards the checkered flag, it is going to be a first ever career win in a NASCAR Euro Series for Raphael Lessard that comes through to claim the win. Thomas Dombrowski in second place, Gilles Linster in third, and for the first time this year off the podium and not a winner, Thomas Toffel finishes in fourth position. So Raphael Lessard was so quick yesterday. I did have concerns about how much life he'd taken out the tyres, but he has absolutely proved me wrong, and the Canadian wins his first race in the NASCAR Euro Series. Thomas Toffel is still the championship leader on 153 points. Gilles Linster is second in the championship, and Vladimir Choitzes is third. Let's go down to victory lane and hear from our race winner, Raphael Lessard.
It took a lot of hard work, and yeah, I didn't expect. Thank you, man. Thank you. Woo. I didn't expect after Valencia we were ever gonna get one, but we finally managed. And I still had to come all the way from P4, I think, or P3. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get the command that the green was. It was back green in time. But well, can't thanks all my guys enough at Alumitech Racing, Rousseau Metal, XPN, Festidrag, Permatex, and all. The team did an amazing job, and all the people back home, thank you for the support.
So Raphael pops the winner's sticker on the car, and once he's done that, he'll leave the victory lane and head up towards the podium. Very happy looking Canadian, and so will Illuminatech be. It's been a difficult weekend for them here at Paul Ricard. Top step of the podium for him, celebrations all around. Raphael Lessard is a winner in the NASCAR Euro Series with his first career win. Thomas Dombrowski and Gilles Linster. In the Masters Trophy, it was Beitske Visser that came through to claim the win in Masters. And in the Legend Trophy, it was Melvin de Groot who once more stood on the top step of the podium. The Lady Trophy win also went the way of Beitske Visser. Well, the weather has been brilliant, the fans have been brilliant, and the racing has been brilliant here at Paul Ricard. Our first visit to France for a French NASCAR Grand Prix since 2018. Let's hear from one Frenchman on the grid. Paul Giffreau is with Andre.
We're here in France for the first time since 2018, here with Paul Giffreau, the local hero in the V8 How is it to be back in your home country?
This is amazing. All those guys are just amazing. There is a good atmosphere, and yeah, it was just amazing to feel support like that. They were there for the bad moments, for the good moments, and everything. So I know that I can count on them. So yeah, it just feels great to have some people there for the bad moments too.
NASCAR in France!
As ever, it's the fastest lap that was set in yesterday's V8 GP race that will give us the grid for today. So Thomas Chrysonis might have got involved in that incident and finished 21st, but he starts from pole. And who's alongside him? The other man involved in exactly the same incident, Paul Giffreau. He was 14th. He will start second. We are ready to go racing. So it is then Thomas Chrysonis and Paul Giffreau on the front row of the grid, with Vittorio Gorelli and Jordan O'Brien on row number 2. Fabrizio Marta has Garrett Lowe for company on row number 3, and it's Vladimir Choitzes and David Kajaya on row number 4. Buckle up, we're about to go green for the final time this weekend with our second V8 GP race, with Thomas Chrysonis looking to try and get a good start on the run down in towards the first corner. But Paul Giffreau is right alongside him, and as they head towards the first corner, Paul Giffreau is going to try all the way around the outside for the first part of the corner, and he's going to pick up the lead of the race with Thomas Chrysonis down into second and then running a little bit wide coming out of the corner. That offers up possibilities for Jordan O'Brien to try and steal second place away from Thomas Chrysonis in towards the braking area for Virage de la Telle. And as they come out of the corner, Jordan O'Brien gets a little bit sideways coming out of the corner. And unfortunately, from looking to gain a place, he's probably lost 2 or maybe even 3 there. So Thomas Chrysonis leading the way at this stage. But everybody, thankfully, albeit with a few cars running wide, are safely out of the first few corners. And one of those cars running wide was Thomas Toffel, who's been going so well in the open division. He's on double driving duties this weekend. So Paul Giffreau leading the way. Looks as though Vittorio Garelli is now up into 2nd place at the expense of Thomas Chrysonis, who's dropped down into 3rd position at this particular stage. And Fabrizio Amata is there in 4th, with Jordan O'Brien recovering after his squirrely moment. He's there in 5th place. So Giffreau looking to try and build a margin, looking to try and just pull away so he's not finding himself under pressure. But others behind have got different ideas. Out of Virage de Bendor and up towards the sweeping right-hander at Curba de Garlaban go the front runners, with all of the time Paul Giffreau looking to try and increase the amount of daylight between himself and Vittorio Garelli. Now the yellow car, that's Jordan O'Brien, and behind him, that's going to be Nelson Piquet Jr. He's having a look as they head up the inside towards Virage de Pont. I think he's conscious there might be contact if he sticks his nose too much up there, but the man who only finished 24th yesterday and started 14th is making brilliant progress. He's looking to try and grab 5th place away. He runs side by side with Jordan O'Brien, who's got the inside line for the first corner, but right way around the outside. How many times have we seen that at Verere so far this weekend? He's made it stick. So up into 5th place now goes Nelson Piquet Jr. Down to 6th goes Jordan O'Brien at this stage, who is trying to fight back on the run in towards Virage de la Telle, but it looks as though Piquet Jr. has just about, I think, got himself ahead. So we ride on board with Thomas Chrysonis. He's got Vittorio Garelli directly ahead of him. He jinks out of the slipstream. He's looking for the inside line, heading in towards the chicane on the Mistral Straight. You can hear the car bouncing off the rev limiter just before it heads onto the brakes. And Chrysonis now up into 2nd place. Vittorio Garelli down into 3rd. And who's there in 4th? It's the 52-year-old Italian for club competition, the Toyota Camry, in the hands of Fabrizio Amata, who's having a great weekend. Challenge champion from 2024 and 2014 was Fabrizio Amata. We now hop on board Jordan O'Brien's car, who is looking to try and close the gap again on Nelson Piquet Jr., having just lost out to the Illuminatech Ford on the previous lap. Hendricks Ford is right behind, and you can see that Piquet Jr. just was a little bit loose there through the corner. There's a tiny bit of contact between the pair of them. They just briefly bounce off each other. But I think Jordan O'Brien is looking to try and get the job done. But of course, Nelson Piquet Jr. has got plenty of racing experience, and there's racing DNA in the blood, that's for sure. Over the start-finish line, now there is Garrett Lowe. He's fighting away with Martin Dubeck. And then we've also got in that little squabble as well, by the look of things, Thomas Toffel, who's making it through. Now, Garrett Lowe has to take towards the runoff area, as does Thomas Toffel. Now, they need to be careful, because you can't gain an advantage again if you run off circuit. So I think Thomas Toffel is going to blend out of the throttle here to ensure he doesn't gain an advantage. Yes, he does. You can see he's giving any places back that he thought he might have gained. But if anything, has maybe been a bit too polite there and has dropped further down through the order than otherwise he needed to, because he's now got Vinnie Mascalis, who is ahead of him and is trying to fight back. So it's Choitsis, then Mascalis, then Thomas Toffel, and then the next of the cars that sits directly behind that will be one of the Team Bleaky Molan machines. It's a fantastic fight now for 7th, 8th and 9th. 3 wide through the fastest corner, 180 kilometres per hour through that right-hander. They were 3 wide. How they did not make contact and how all of the cars come out of that corner pointing in the right direction, I simply do not know. But that was brave stuff from those 3 there, and they have all got away with it. So pure racing in the NASCAR Euro Series. Thomas Toffel now trying to gain a place on Sebastian Bleekemolen, and he outbrakes himself. He makes contact with the tail end of the Mustang. There's a secondary impact as well, which pitches them back round, and that's caused a chunk of damage to Sebastian Bleekemolen and, of course, Thomas Toffel. Now, Garelli in 3rd place, under pressure from Fabrizio Amata. And as we ride on board with Fabrizio Amata, you can see just ahead of us is the reigning champion at the wheel of the PK Carsport Chevrolet, bouncing over the curbs. There's contact there between the pair of them. Garelli is pushed wide a little bit. Fabrizio Amata is able to gain the place, but he gained the position with a bit of contact there. So he really needs to ensure again that he does not gain an advantage with that contact. For the moment, he's sticking with it. He's still ahead of Vittorio Garelli. He'd be wise just to give the place back and give himself an opportunity to get through cleanly later on in the race. Otherwise, he might end up in a bit of strife here. It's just allowing the front two evermore to pull away. Either way, this has been a brilliant fight between Fabrizio Amata and Vittorio Garelli. And Amata, fresh from what was an awful weekend at Valencia, has had some great pace this weekend. Can he net it with a podium position? We'll have to wait and find out. So they still continue their battle. Garelli can't quite get to the rear bumper of the Toyota that just lies ahead in the hands of the Italian. So the two fellow countrymen squabbling it out at this stage. Now, if they hold each other up much more, they will see that Nelson Piquet Jr. is beginning to close in as well. Jordan O'Brien in the yellow car is just at the background of the shot, and then I think it's Gianmarco Ercoli. Now, Ercoli had an awful day yesterday, so he's had to work his way up from 20th on the grid, having finished in 23rd place. So watch out for the 11, because he looks strong. Paul Giffreau still leading the way from Thomas Chrysonis in second position. The battle for third sees Fabrizio Amata, Vittorio Garelli, Nelson Piquet Jr., Jordan O'Brien all still together as they head down in towards the braking area for the chicane part the way along the Mistral Straight. But look at the back of the shot. Not quite caught them yet. The number 11 car of Gianmarco Ercoli is on his way. And of course, because he had so many problems yesterday and started so low down, he's got pretty fresh tyres, I would say, for this one. Now, catching, of course, is one thing. Getting past is something very different indeed. Fabrizio Amata acting as the cork in the bottle at the moment, with everybody queuing up behind him as they start to turn their way through then Virage de Bendor up towards Curve de Garlaban. And then from there, all you've got is Lac and Virage de Pont, the final couple of corners. So this great battle for third place has allowed the leading two to well and truly pull away. Amata, we hear, though, as a result of that small contact between Vittorio Garelli, is going to pick up a 5-second penalty. So the drivers behind will have been communicated that as well via their spotters. So Amata third on the road, but he might not end up there. He needs to pull a gap on those behind, and it's not going to be easy. Jordan O'Brien looking to attack Nelson Piquet Jr. as they head up towards the first corner, which is Ferrari. And is he going to go through? Yes, he does. Up the inside, takes the place away from Nelson Piquet Jr. So he lost out a couple of laps ago to that car. He's now gone through and past it. And Nelson Piquet Jr. now is getting caught by his teammate, which is Gianmarco Ercoli. So it's still the 48 from the 11 for the two cars from Illuminitec, the two Fords. But are they going to shuffle the order? Let's just have a quick look. Nelson Piquet Jr. under full attack now from Gianmarco Ercoli. He's going to have to stick his elbows out if he wants to hang on to 6th position. Remember, Ercoli has probably got the fresher tyres because of the problems that befell him in yesterday's race. And as they head up towards the braking area for Virage de Pont, he's up the inside. There wasn't a great deal of defence put up from Nelson Piquet Jr., probably realising that his teammate has the better car at this stage and therefore allows him to go through. Now, Vittorio Garelli is looking as though he is now under pressure from Jordan O'Brien, who's looking to try and sweep his way around the outside. Can't do it there. Is he going to be quick coming out of the corner? Garelli knows what he needs to do in these cars, but he runs a little bit wide coming out, and Jordan O'Brien might sneak his way through here, up towards the braking area for Virage de l'Hôtel. He's got the inside line and does go through. So Jordan O'Brien now up into 4th place, Vittorio Garelli down into 5th, and that could be an important pass because we know the car ahead, which is running 3rd on the road, Fabrizio Amata. We know he's got a time penalty, so that might have been a pass for 4th and 5th, but in reality, on corrected times, Fabrizio Amata is going to drop out of 3rd position. So over the start-finish line comes Paul Giffreau. He is on course to scoop up a win and claim his 7th career win in the NASCAR Euro Series V8 division. It is going to be Thomas Chrysonis that comes through to finish in 2nd place. Jordan O'Brien is going to pick up 3rd. Fabrizio Amata might have crossed the line in 3rd, but the time penalty will drop him further down through the order. So it's a win for Paul Giffreau in front of his home crowd at his home NASCAR Grand Prix. Let's hear from our race winner.
What an amazing home race, a perfect race on Sunday. You must be very happy.
Yeah, I cannot describe my feelings for now. I was so focused yesterday. I was a bit too confident. We talked with the guys. It was all on me. And yeah, we work on ourselves. We improved. So I'm so proud of them, sorry. And yeah, the guys just made an incredible weekend. They just slept 7 hours the 2 nights. The first night they didn't even sleep 1 hour. So they are just amazing. They've done all that for me and Florian, so I can just be grateful.
No words left to say. Paul Giffreau.
An understandably pleased but also passionate Paul Giffreau there. It's Vittorio Garelli that's going to leave France as the championship leader, with Garrett Lowe in 2nd place and Jordan O'Brien in 3rd. But Paul Giffreau will have the biggest smile in southern France. He stands on the top step of the podium, having won his home NASCAR Grand Prix. Understandably, he is absolutely thrilled with that one. In the junior classification, it was also Paul Giffreau that claimed the win. The Challenger Trophy, David Kajaya was first home as well. That's all from Paul Ricard. We've had a great weekend here for the first time ever in the NASCAR Euro Series. Don't forget, we're going to do it all again in just 2 weeks' time, where we go to Brands Hatch in Kent in the UK for American Speedfest. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.